Hi, my name is Aaron Boyd,
And my name is Chris Guerrero.
And my name is Brianna Canizales.
My name is Genesis Benitez.
and we are group one of how the 4 steps of how to terminate an employee. To start the beginning, we go with preparation to have the conversation and to have the meeting for terminating. We first want to review the documents before taking action. We want to gather all types of documentation that regards to the terminee. That means performance issues, behaviors, business needs of the performance of the person, as well as warnings, any uh, actions that we took to place this termination with regards to the records within our company. We also want to set up a meeting with the employee and set up with ourselves with our schedule, make sure there's no distractions whatsoever when we have this meeting. We also want to talk to HR and to talk to our legal counsel to make sure that we're in the fine lines of how to terminate an employee and make sure there's no lines being crossed and our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted. Next, last things we want to make sure we have an agreement, paperwork, and the final paycheck, of course, and any benefits that we may or allow to give to this person for termination. With that being said, next thing to do is with the conduct of termination meeting. Hand it off to Mr. Chris.
Yeah, so for step two of effectively terminating an employee, you want to have the meeting. Most important thing when conducting the meeting for terminating the employee is to make sure you're respectful and direct. The whole purpose of the meeting is to terminate the employee, and if the employee is left feeling confused about what the meeting was, then you've done something wrong. So you want to begin the meeting by just getting straight to the point. Try not to talk too much because then it might, give the employee the wrong idea. Want to make sure you have a good opening statement to effectively relay to the employee that they're being terminated. Um, you want to make sure that there's no emotion, no ill will behind the termination. It's strictly professional. Want to be respectful. Uh, and you don't want to let the employee, it's not a debate. You don't want them to um, ask too many questions of, why, what can they do to continue being employed by the company? It's already a final decision. You're just there to relay the message, but you still want to be empathetic while doing that, and answer any questions that they may have by providing the documentation that Aaron was talking about in the beginning of making sure that you um, provide them with everything that led to the termination, whether it be misconduct, tardies of anything of the sort. And once you relay that to them, then it'd be moving on to step three, and I will leave that to Brianna.
So, step three is to provide details and support. So, once you have communicated to the employee your decision to terminate, it's important to ensure that the employee has all of the information they need to understand the logistics and make the transition process as smooth as possible. So, I think it's very important to talk about the employee's final paycheck, their last working day, and also talk about any PTO that's going to be paid out to the employee. It's also important to talk about any expense reimbursements that they may be getting. This would also be the time to talk about any severance packages that you would offer the employee, if applicable, obviously. Um, If they aren't getting any severance, it's important to be honest and transparent about them not getting a severance package so that there is no misunderstanding. You can also talk about benefits, outline what happens to the employee's health benefits or any accounts that they were paying through their employment time, what's going to happen to that money, such as life insurance, 401k, things like that. Next, it's really important to talk about the return of any company property. This can be badges, IDs, documents, computers, things like that, or even intellectual property like company secrets, things like that, and specify a date and time of when you need the stuff back. It's also important to offer resources and transportation depending on the situation. Even though you are terminating the employee, they were of value to the company at some point. So it's important for them to feel understood emotionally. It's not our responsibility to provide counseling, but acknowledging that the employee is probably going through a lot of emotional distress is really important to the employee. For the last step, I'm going to leave it off to Genesis.
So I'm going to be talking about the how to handle the aftermath of terminating in the most professional way, which I do feel is best to communicate with the team. Once the termination has been done and completed, it's best to inform the team respectfully on what are the next steps or how to pretty much close in that termination and for focusing on what are the new changes that need to be done when it comes to recruiting, what are you looking for the company, as well as also acknowledge what the employee has done for the company. So therefore, you could still find a new employee that has those same type of values that were part of the company. And it's just best to avoid any type of discussion of a personal detail, more just a broad information of, okay, this is what we were expecting, this is how we had to end it, and if there's maybe a future termination, what we can do to better handle a situation. Also have everything documented, knowing when was the meeting took place, the reasons for the termination, any type of agreements that have been made by the individuals. It's best to protect both the business and the employee to ensure that everything is recorded by record. And I think these are the steps to really handle the aftermath of a termination. You're muted, Chris.
The last thing will be said by Mr. Chris. Just give him 1 second.
Thank you. So this is our video on how to effectively terminate an employee. Step one was prepare. Step two was to have the meeting. Step three, provide details and support. And then last step four, handle the aftermath professionally. Thank you so much for watching our video.